What you're about to watch is a nightmare.
I see you, standing in the corner, observing what I do. I'm waiting for you to come closer, but you keep yourself aloof. I can't say that I'm scared. I'm curious to ask, who are you? I wish every time you disappeared. I wish I knew your intentions too. I know you're different from the rest. It's more than a feeling inside. Your presence puts my faith to the test. Because it feels like you're waiting for me to die. I don't know what you are, and I hope not to find out, praying that I'm not insane and begging for you to leave me now. It's obvious that you're after something. I get the feeling that it's my soul. You come as very evil, even with the hat that you have on. That's where you got your name, right? From what most people have described? A tall man with a hat and coat, standing still by your bedside.
Who is the Hat Man, the bedtime stalker, the man who haunts you in the night? Is the Hat Man a demon, dark spirit, or just a creepy and curious entity? Some may say that the Hat Man is simply just a lost spirit, not saying or doing anything to you, just sort of watching, then just vanishes, leaving you in a state of confusion and oftentimes fear. Multiple accounts say he's a demonic figure that stalks and preys on those asleep, often waking them but not saying anything or touching them, just looming in the shadows with eyes fixed on you, or at least a feeling of eyes on you. Always described as wearing a long trench coat and a wide-brimmed hat. Many have reported that the Hat Man feeds on your fear and that he doesn't just simply vanish. People have also claimed that the Hat Man isn't just some dark spirit or shadow person, he has substance to him. If you were to, touch him or bump into him, you would feel him, as if he was solid, of the flesh. Some have even described him as a sleep paralysis demon because of the fact that he can feed on your darkest fears and creep into your minds, all the while you can't move or run away. And as a lot of people who have suffered from sleep paralysis will tell you, a lot of times our sleep paralysis demons don't touch us. They just kind of loom in the corner and creep with their eyes fixed on us. So the Hat Man does kind of fit this description. I myself have only ever encountered the Hat Man once, but even then I convinced myself it was just my eyes playing tricks on me, or at the very least it was some weird form of pareidolia. I was sitting up in bed one night looking outside of my window as the storm rolled in. Several minutes go by and something catches my eye and I'm fixed on this light pole. But the street light wasn't on and it was near dark, which in and of itself was kind of bizarre. Between lightning flashes, it appeared that a large dark man was standing there, completely blacked out. No true distinguishable features except for a large brimmed hat. I could only see him between flashes. I was absolutely terrified. Everything in me told me not to look or stare or catch their gaze. My mind was screaming fight or flight, but I could do neither. I was literally just stuck in my own fear. And as I sat there thinking about this, the absolute worst fear came true. He began to look upwards at me like he knew exactly who was watching him, but before his eyes could set on mine, he was gone. And he no longer appeared between the lightning flashes. It felt like minutes had gone by, but probably just happened in a matter of seconds. To this day, I still don't really know who or what that was, or again, if it was just my eyes playing tricks on me with the lightning flashes, but it felt wrong. The phenomenon of the Hat Man has reached and been reported in all corners of the world, inspiring documentaries and the launch of the dedicated blog, The Hat Man Project. It is not a new phenomenon, and in fact, for about as long as written records have existed, people have described a frightening nighttime vision that paralyzes them with fear and seems to suck the breath right out of them, often by pressing directly upon their chest, reports Quartz. Going back to the Hatman blog, thehatmanproject.com, he even shares his own stories. The story that you can find on his page, it's a pretty lengthy read, but it is undoubtedly pretty interesting because you'll start to notice every single person who has an encounter with the Hatman, the stories are almost identical. What I saw gripped me immediately with fear and dread. I saw a tall human-like figure, and the figure looked like that of a man. The man had no distinguishable features whatsoever. I could see no eyes, no nose or mouth, only blackness. He looked like a shadow, only darker, much darker. He had a very wide-brimmed hat and a long trench coat that flowed as he moved. I started to tremble. My heart began to race. At that moment, I came to the conviction that there was indeed an intruder in my house. As I watched him move, in the back of my mind, I began to play out scenarios as to what he and I was going to do. Was I going to yell? Was I going to get up and run after him and try to fight him? I kept looking into the hallway. He stood there at the threshold between my great-grandmother's room and my grandmother's room. He leaned his head in and body into my great-grandmother's room and looked in, turning his head toward her and then toward me. I had my eyes closed as much as I could so I could still see him, yet still look like I was sleeping. He stood there for what seemed like an eternity, just staring. He then moved very slowly and without sound back into the hallway just out of view. As I kept watching, I then saw this blacker than black figure move toward my grandmother's room. Just like before, he leaned his body and head in her doorway, looking at her, again not making a sound. He then leaned back and moved out of view into the hallway. So what do you guys think that the Hatman is? Do you think he's a sleep paralysis demon, a bedtime stalker, a spirit, shadow person? What are your thoughts? Most stories that I've come across have been almost identical, like I said, but not every story is exactly the same. So I am very curious to hear what you guys have to say and what your personal experiences are with the Hatman. It makes me kind of wonder if he's been around for as long as they say he has, basically since things have been documented. Is it something that we kind of just spoke into existence? Something that can't harm you or touch you or really do anything except scare you? Maybe he only exists because we believe he exists. Maybe not. Maybe he's something very, very old, very, very evil. Let me know.